Welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Amherst. My name is Marlena Rice. My pronouns are she and her. My first volunteer job, not this one, at this church was to help make and serve coffee, and I met some people, and now, 43 years later, look where I am, you know? It doesn't take 43 years to be up here, though. This is a volunteer position, and it's fun to do. For those gathered in the chapel, I urge you to actually turn off your phones completely. I just did. To free up bandwidth for the live stream. Our Wi-Fi is a little wobbly, and we want our online community to have as full an experience as possible. If you need a little extra hearing support, we have assisted hearing devices at the usher's table in the back of the chapel. Feel free to borrow it for the service. You may get up at any time to get those.
I add my welcome to Marlena's. I'm Reverend Michelle Buhite, the minister of this congregation. My pronouns, which I offer to create a truly inclusive and brave space for all to live into the fullness of our identities, are she and her. This house is for the ingathering of nature and human nature.
It is a house of friendship, a haven in trouble, an open room for the encouragement of our struggle.
It is a house of freedom, guarding the dignity and worth of every person.
It offers a platform for free voice, for declaring both in times of security and danger, the full and undivided conflict of opinion.
It is a house of truth-seeking, where scientists can encourage devotion to the quest, where mystics can abide in a community of searchers.
It is a house of art, adorning its celebrations with melodies and handiworks.
It is a house of prophecy, outrunning times past and times present in visions of growth and progress.
This house is a cradle of our dreams, the workshop of our common endeavor. Our gathering music can be found in the gray hymnal, number 38, Morning Has Broken. The lyrics will also be projected up front. Let's rise in body and spirit and embrace the day and sing your hearts out. This is an awesome song. Awesome. You may be seated. It's just such a good song to start the day with. When we gather, we employ the elements of water and fire to create the sacred space where we can be fully present. We begin with an acknowledgement that our church is built on holy ground, land that was nurtured and cultivated most recently by the Haudenosaunee. We offer this libation as our giveaway as we honor the struggle of all people seeking justice and peace. We seek the courage and wisdom to heal the wounds of the past and build a better future story for all our neighbors and fellow creatures together. It is our custom when we gather to light a chalice. The chalice is a cup or vessel that symbolizes the Unitarian Universalism and the gathered community. The flame represents the spark that each of us brings to represent the light of truth, the warmth of community, and our fire of commitment to bring more compassion and justice to the world. Please join me as we light the flame. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of a life we share together.
Thanks, Kim. I invite you to sing with me our song of preparation, Return Again. You can find it in our teal hymnal, number 1011, but the words are very simple and they are up front. So, the first verse we'll sing twice. The second verse, which starts with the return to who you are, we'll sing twice. And then we're going to go back to that first verse and sing it twice, and that will end the song. And you don't have to remember that, because I'll tell you as we go. But I like to overshare. So, remaining seated, let's use this as our prayer as we come back into this space, or maybe here for the first time. I will note that this song was written by a rabbi, and as we are in the days of atonement between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, this is a song of homecoming and seeking restitution for ourselves and for others. And so let's add that element to our sung prayer. All right, sing with me. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul again. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Second verse. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn. Verse 1. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Each week, we make time in our service to acknowledge that we bring with us so much. Joys, concerns, sorrows, overwhelm, I don't think I need to list it all. It's a complicated melange, I'm practicing my French, of emotions, of the condition of our spirit. And this container can hold all of that. This is a container of love and acceptance and worth and dignity. For many of us, the spiritual trauma we carry has to do with not being worthy. And I want you to hear loud and clear that you are worthy. As the music plays, I invite you to come either forward to the large table labyrinth, or there's a small one in the back by the candles, and place a stone or a shell, trusting that this community can hold all that you are and all that you bring. And at the end of our time together, that we will send you off, hopefully a little bit changed, right? Changed for good, changed for trusting that inner voice. So as the music plays, come forward. Place a final stone in recognition of those joys, concerns, and sorrows that are held by our online community. Know that you are also a part of this circle of love. Let's expand our circle, perhaps with a breath, perhaps with closed eyes or softened gaze. We include those who may not be present, but whose presence we feel in our hearts. We bring into our circle of love and care those who are ill, those who are in pain, either in body or spirit, those who are lonely, those who are overwhelmed and feeling lost, those who have been wronged. This week we especially hold the Beal family, as Judy's passing has affected them very deeply, and the ripples go out. May they know that they are held in love. And we hold in our hearts all those who have been impacted by violence this week. Violence of body, of mind, of spirit. May our hearts remain tender even when we would create a wall around them. May we continue to find hope in the goodness of life and in the source of love. May we find strength and peace and courage. Amen and blessed be. Sometimes you need to remember to turn on your microphone after you've done singing. Oh. Oh my. Oh my. What could be in the Wonder Box? I wonder. What do you think's in there? Maybe. I think that I was right. My lunch. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, well, actually, it's not my lunch. It's a lunch. And it reminds me of a story. Because in this, I have a couple of loaves and a ridiculous little fish. So I'm going to tell you a story about a special lunch that started with loaves and fishes. Huh?
It's always lunch from the fictional world.
Lunch from the fictional world, maybe. Well, this comes from the Gospels, the Christian Gospels, which are stories about a special man named Jesus. And so this is a story about Jesus and his special followers. And people, you want to check these out? Yeah, check them out, girlfriend. Yeah, there you go. You can take it with you and sit. That's okay. Or stand. So Jesus and his followers were traveling around, and he was giving just wonderful stories and speeches, and everybody wanted to hear what he had to say. And so the people in the towns would follow Jesus and his small group that would go around through the countryside. So one day, more and more people from more and more villages joined them until there were thousands of people. And the sun was pretty high in the sky, and it was feeling like lunchtime. And Jesus' friends turned to him and they said, "What are we going to do? There's not a town anywhere close, and no town around here could accommodate all of these people and wanting lunch." And so Jesus said, let me give that a thought. And there was a young person, a little boy, who had with him his sack lunch and said, "Well, it's not a lot, but you can have my lunch." And so opened it up, and there were a couple of loaves of bread and some dried salted fish, because they didn't have refrigerators and Tupperware back then. And so everything had to be accommodated to like this. Anyways, so there were fishes and loaves, and there was just enough for like a little boy to have lunch. And Jesus said, "This is perfect. I can work with this. Bring me a basket." And he started shredding the fish into teeny tiny little pieces because there were so many people. And then the bread, he had to do it so tiny that it was like crumbs. And Jesus gave it to one of his friends and said, "Can you pass this around, please? There's plenty for everybody." Well, the people who were sitting out all along this area looked, and they were like, "All right, so maybe I brought a few things to eat on the road, just, to take care of my own body. And if this little boy could give up his lunch, maybe I could share a little bit of what I brought." And so as the basket went by with these little crumbs and little flakes of fish, people were putting in a few figs or peanut butter sandwiches or whatever it is that they had brought with. It's in the gospel. It must be true. And by the time they finished, they started out with a teeny tiny lunch and thousands of people. And at the end of that lunchtime, there were 12 big baskets of leftovers because people had shared. They had given what they brought so that then there was enough for everybody. And then maybe enough to, as they're going home, they go through a town, "Hey, do you need a big thing of food?" And they would drop it off to the food pantry there. And it's in the gospel, like I said. And so everybody had exactly what they needed. Isn't that cool? Just by sharing, by someone giving. They didn't have a whole bunch. This boy only had a tiny lunch. But he said, "You know what? I'll start. Pick me. I'll give you mine." And then everybody shared. And everybody had plenty. Blessing you. All right. I think you have the most fun activity getting ready for you in faith development. I'm not going to tell any secrets, but it could be kind of fun. So let's sing you out, shall we? Everybody. Oop, careful of the rug. See you later.
Michelle said I had the perfect earrings on today. They're kind of fish, I think. We didn't plan it, but it was good. The reading today is from Robin Wall Kimmerer's The Serviceberry. In a Serviceberry economy, I accept the gift from the tree and then spread that gift around with a dish of berries for my neighbor, who makes a pie to share with his friend, who feels so wealthy in food and friendship that he volunteers at the food pantry. You know how it goes. To name the world as a gift is to feel your membership in the web of reciprocity. It makes you happy, and it makes you accountable. Conceiving of something as a gift changes your relationship to it in a profound way, even though the physical makeup of the thing has not changed. I imagine if we acknowledged that everything we consume is the gift of Mother Earth, we would take better care of what we are given.
Let me begin by stating that I believe in the power of small books. I am fiendishly drawn to tiny books. Perhaps it is from all those years helping my Gideon grandfather pack up his station wagon with little New Testaments to be given out to the students as they left the school building. I know there's a lot to unpack there. Small books lure me in with their cuteness. Look at me. I can't be dangerous. I am ever so small. Cynthia Ryland's deceptively innocuous book of poems, God Went to Beauty School, was just one of those books that threw me to the ground before I even knew what was happening. I have a whole collection of small books, in case you're feeling feisty enough to take one on. Well, Robin Wall Kimmerer's book, The Serviceberry, Abundance and Reciprocity in the Natural World, is one of those to add to my collection. The title is actually kind of longer than the actual book typeface, and so it had to be reduced to be so small to be nearly unreadable. Inside, the print was perfect, so don't worry. And like so many small books, this one is large in content and in its challenge to just try to live the ordinary life in the ordinary way ever again. So let's start with the title, The Serviceberry. How many of you have ever heard of, much less seen, a serviceberry tree bush thing? Okay, liars. No. Until UU Amherst launched the Villages Initiative at the beginning of the pandemic, I'd never heard of such a tree bush thing. In fact, I thought it was made up. Like the people who belonged to that village named themselves that because of their service to the congregation. And if that were the case, I would have voted for something more aspirational, like Loungeberry or Relaxberry, but I guess that's just me. So I learned that the serviceberry is a bush and that its lush, sweet berries are known by many names, a trait that lets ethnobotanists know that the plant has great cultural importance. But this sermon is not about berries any more than it is about small, devious books, although these are certainly metaphors for what the sermon is about: courage and generosity. Robin Wall Kimmerer uses her expertise as a botanist and an indigenous person to weave her knowledge of plants and people to teach us about what many refer to as the gift economy. What is a gift economy? Simply put, a gift economy is the opposite of a transactional economy, which is probably more familiar to us. I would like a Tootsie Roll. I give you money. You give me the Tootsie Roll. And that is the end of our relationship. Oh, we might have some conversation about the relative merits of Tootsie Rolls, or how much my dentist will love replacing my fillings. But my purchase of a product you are selling does not create more of a relationship than that exchange. Now let me offer you an example of a gift from Kimmerer's book. She notes that her neighbor grew an abundance of serviceberries. She could have put out a "You Pick" sign and collected some cash from the berries, but she made another choice. She called her neighbors and invited them to come and pick from her abundance. Those berries picked out of abundance generated more abundance. A pie was baked and shared. Jam was made and put up for future gift giving. Neighbors met each other in the orchard or bush place. I don't know if that would be an orchard. Berry bush place, and chatted as they picked, reinforcing bonds of community with questions about how are your children or your grandchildren? What are your plans for neighborly gatherings? These interactions are not transactions. They are the building blocks and the cement of human connectivity and community. Kimmerer notes, and I quote, "Gratitude and reciprocity are the currency of a gift economy, and they have the remarkable property of multiplying with every exchange, their energy concentrating as they pass from hand to hand, a truly renewable resource." End of quote. A gift economy is rooted in the most essential gift giver, Mother Earth. We can do nothing to earn the gift of life or the beauty and abundance around us. Oh, we might be able to work hard to multiply gifts, but ultimately we are the beneficiaries of life, not the purveyors of it. As beneficiaries, our proper response is one of gratitude, with the promise to carry the gift forward, to pass it on. An essential piece of my spiritual journey is the time I spent learning earthways from Seneca elder and lineage holder, Grandmother Twyla Nitsch. Grandmother Twy participated in the gift economy by teaching non-natives to love and respect the earth. Note that she taught us earthways, not Seneca ways. We were not there to extract or to perpetuate colonialism's assumption that everything is ours to take. At the annual Women's Council held on the weekend of the Strawberry Moon, which is in late June, 200 women would gather to camp in cars or tents or under the stars, keeping the drum beating Earth Mother's heartbeat through the days and long nights. We would chant and drum and sit at the feet of the grandmothers, Twyla, Nightwalker, Spider Woman, learning what it meant to walk in beauty, to dance softly on the earth. Each morning we would rise and take part in a movement meditation to honor the 7 directions: east, south, west, north, above, below, within. And we would pray the prayer of gratitude that Grandmother Twyla taught us. Great mystery, we awake to another sun, grateful for the gifts bestowed, granted one by one. Grateful for the greatest gift, the precious breath of life. Grateful for abilities that guide us day and night. As we walk our chosen path of lessons we must learn, spiritual peace and happiness, rewards of life we earn. We thank you for your spiritual strength and for our thoughts to praise. We thank you for your infinite love that guides us through these days. And she would end the prayer with Daho Nyawe Sueño, which is Seneca for so be it. Thank you, great mystery. At Women's Council, there were no catered meals. We cooked for and served one another. At the end of the weekend, tired, smelling of wood smoke, and a little bit disoriented, we would head home, tasked to try to bring what we learned into our everyday lives. Back in the early 90s, we didn't have the term gift economy, but we understood what it looked and felt like and what it required of us. And now you have received the gift. You've been embraced by the ongoing presence of the ancestors as we strive to dance more gently on Earth Mother. I am so grateful for the tangible way I have participated in a gift economy. It is a gift that is renewed in its sharing. Much of congregational life is experienced as gift economy. Although burned-out clergy might cynically refer to Sunday morning as the weekly pay-per-view. Okay, I've said it once or twice, but only when I'm completely burned out. But we did not scan your credit cards as you entered. Music has been wantonly shared, and we sang with abandon. I will not be charging you by the word for my reflection. Indeed, if I did, it would be considerably longer. Today is the kickoff for the 2026 Pledge Campaign. If you are new to congregational life, and to UU congregational life in particular, that statement might need a little bit of unpacking. Unitarian Universalist churches are independent. That is our polity. We are in a covenantal relationship with the National Association and other UU congregations, but we are responsible for our own buildings, staff, and programming. We contribute to the National Association, not the other way around. That means that all of our funding is through the generous giving of members and friends who believe in what we are doing and want to be part of supporting our ministry. As Grandmother Twyla reminded those of us who benefited from her teachings, pouches of tobacco won't pay the electric bill. Making a pledge of support to UU Amherst is exactly that, a promise of financial support. Some people give a lot, some people give a little. We give according to our ability to give because magic pledges, amounts that we wish we could give but probably can't, are not helpful for budgeting. I've tried magic budgeting at home, and it's quite disastrous, actually. When I say we give according to our ability, it is exactly that. We. I think ministry might be the only job where the expectation is that the minister gives back their pay. I don't know. I haven't worked that many places. Last year, I didn't pledge right away. My husband and I had higher prescription costs, and I wasn't sure that we would be able to honor our usual pledge. And I was right. We weren't able to give it the same percentage of income that we had the previous year, but we were able to give and pay a sound pledge that was rooted in reality. I cannot tell you what that looks like for you. If UU Amherst is starting to feel like not just the church you attend, but your church, your congregation, I hope that you will participate in pledged giving. Donations are wonderful, and we accept them with joy. Pledges help us build our budget. So if you want to participate in both, pledges and donations, I'm pretty sure no one will stop you. So it's awkward for me to talk to you about giving, not because I think that generosity is unimportant or embarrassing, but because aside from the upkeep of our buildings and grounds, ministry is the highest ticket item in the budget. I hope that your giving is not based on whether or not you like a sermon or a stance that I've taken, but ultimately I can't do anything about that. My calling is bigger than all of that. So what does this have to do with the gift economy? I think it has to do with a foundation of trust and shared commitment to bring more compassion and justice to the world. If that sounds familiar, that is the mission statement of UU Amherst. You can still be part of this community if you don't give a dime. And if enough of you decide that this is the way you want to be in a relationship with UU Amherst, you may need to step into some roles that would otherwise be paid. We have an amazing staff. We strive to be good employers by compensating them fairly. My ministry depends upon having an excellent support and program staff. Our shared ministry depends on this. Because, of course, I'm not the only one with a ministry here. You'll hear more about the nuts and bolts of this a little bit later over pancakes, when the carbohydrates are flowing through your body and you're feeling sweetly sleepy. So let's get back to gift economy. An economy that is relational, not transactional. You might be thinking that this is all new. How can you possibly understand something so new agey as gift economy? Do you have a library card? Have you ever taken out a book? Somebody somewhere bought that book and donated it to the library, or the library acquired money from a grant or from humans. Humans write grants, it's okay, and donated it to the library. Your card gives you access, and it is your covenant, your promise, that you will take good care of the book and return it so that others can read it. Rinse and repeat. A whole community can read a wide variety of books without purchasing a single one. Everybody contributes in their way. Gift economy. Do you have a Buy Nothing group in your community? If you're not familiar, it's a group, many are on social media, where people post things that they are ready to part with or things they are hoping to obtain for no money exchanged. I have participated in a Buy Nothing group when we lived in Cheektowaga, and I cannot explain to you the absolute joy I felt as I loaded into a stranger's car an unopened box with an artificial Christmas tree that I purchased at the end of the season when it was cheap, and you know it's on sale, so you should just buy it, Michelle. And then I realized I wasn't willing to risk the cat and grandchild chaos to put it up. So I had a thing. Somebody needed a thing. The only transaction was that of joy. Gift economy 101. And you don't actually need money to participate in the gift economy. You can just be nice. You can simply notice another's humanity and let them know they matter. I like to engage people in conversation, usually in grocery stores. Makes them so nervous. I used to cringe when my mom would do that, commenting on a store clerk's lipstick or nail color. But I also had the opportunity to watch someone who felt seen, maybe for the first time that day. Someone who was recognized as a person of worth and dignity in a culture that lifts up some and makes others invisible. And I have to say, my mom walked a little taller in her high heels after these encounters. It didn't matter if the store clerk didn't reciprocate. Right? Like, that wasn't the point. In fact, the fun lay in delivering the recognition and then scampering away before the person felt obligated to reciprocate. Reciprocity is not an obligation. In a gift economy, where reciprocity is understood, all flourishing is mutual. That's a concept that, somebody put that in a tiny box and locked it away somewhere right now in the world, right? But it's still true. All flourishing is mutual. In the October newsletter, which I'm sure you've already read voraciously, I reference JFK's assertion that a rising tide lifts all boats. All flourishing is mutual, even though it is not identical. In our Story for All Ages, we revisited a gospel story that is probably familiar beyond the bounds of the Bible. You don't need to have read the Gospels to have a sense for the story, which, of course, I might have added a few jots and tittles to. Sorry, Book of Revelation. Jesus and his disciples have been attracting crowds in the story there, and the Gospel says there are 5,000 men present. So that, even though it's entitled, Jesus Feeds the 5,000, I wonder if there might have been other people there too, like some women, and maybe some children, and likely some enslaved people. So the number was probably, we're going to work with this story. I am not saying it's in a history book, okay? There you go. So, in the story, there are 5,000 men present, which probably means closer to 12 to 14,000 when you count all those other human beings. Also in this story is a child with a lunch with some leaves and a few dried salted fish. The gospel story portrays it as a miracle, a magic trick, where this lunch suddenly feeds a crowd that would almost fill Salem Field. I looked it up. So does that help you, like, get the scope? Except, of course, they weren't in bleachers, right? Anyway, the people are grumbly. It's hot. It's lunchtime. What's Jesus going to do? Can you see it? Can you see those dried up little fishes? And Jesus carefully breaking them, flaking them into teeny tiny bits? And now can you imagine people looking at each other a bit uneasily, maybe a little guiltily? This is the part where I may have added a few jots and tittles. They didn't leave the house without a hastily prepared lunch. They knew they were going on a walk. They at least brought granola. It's in the Bible. They just weren't keen on sharing. But a child offered a meager meal, and Jesus was going to make it work. So the basket, with the shreds of fish and crumbs of bread, sent out to the crowd. People start putting in their own bits. Remember, I just told you the story a tiny bit ago. But sometimes it helps to get a little repeat. It's like learning a song, right? So another basket's brought out, another one, 12 leftovers. So was it a magic trick? Well, if softening hearts is a magic trick, I suppose so. I think it was reciprocity and multiplicity, my own word today, in action. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. All flourishing is mutual. The world might try to tell you that being generous makes you a sucker, but don't listen to them. Learn from the Serviceberry, from people who know that gifts are meant to be shared and multiplied. Berries become pies and jam and friendship. Reciprocity is the key that unlocks our hearts and lets us know we are home.
Our song of affirmation can be found in the gray hymnal, number 404, What Gift Can We Bring? Please rise in body or spirit and sing.
seated.
What gift can we bring? We can bring our whole selves to this gathering. We can bring our willingness, our service, and our generosity. Like all Unitarian Universalist congregations, UU Amherst is completely self-funding. The lights, everything. Aside from a bit of rental income and the occasional grant, it is the generous giving of individuals that makes this community of hope possible. Some give a little, some give a lot, and absolutely every gift matters. The offering will now be gratefully received. Thank you for your gifts. We began our service with lighting our chalice, and now we extinguish the chalice, not to quench the flame, but to return it to individual hearts, strengthened by this time spent together, so that we can share the light in the world. Please join your voices with mine. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you, Kim. As our service draws to an end, our service to the world is ready to begin. You'll find many opportunities for growth and service in your order of service and on our website. Today is our 2026 Pledge Kickoff Pancake Breakfast. I love this, I gotta tell you, it's so good. Chef Bruce and his crew have prepared a sweet feast for us to enjoy. All are invited to attend. There is no cost, but we'll never turn down a donation. We will hear from a couple of folks about the exciting things happening at UU Amherst and how you can be part of all of it. And now, please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing blessing. Don't forget to twinkle your eyes and share smiles with one another during the third verse. Remain standing afterward for the benediction.
Travel For time spent together and in the presence of mystery, we give thanks. For breath and song and silence, we give thanks. With gratitude for what has been, we carry the spark of love and community within us and share it with a hurting world. So go in peace. Make a difference, y'all. Thanks. That's all right.
Sure, is that one? Let's check. I think so.